She's got some nice long hair.
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Barron, coming to you live after a Chicago Bears victory over the Houston Texans. We are going to be recapping it all today and also breaking down some hot takes that we are seeing out there for the Chicago Bears. And let me just say, there are a lot out there. So it's going to be a super fun show today. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're out there on YouTube. And also, if you are listening to the podcast, make sure to rate 5 stars. We continue to raise money for the Thorn organization. So 5 stars for the Apple podcast. That is $1 extra that I will donate. We are up to 12. I would love to get that at least up to 20 by the end of the month. So if you have an Apple account, just go out there, rate 5 stars. You don't even have to subscribe. It's for a good cause. But ladies and gentlemen, like I said, 2-1 for our Chicago Bears. And right off the bat, I know Sam I am in the chat, just that was ugly. And that's exactly how I describe this. It was an ugly win, but hey, a win is a win. Yes. So that's why we're going to be breaking down the good and the bad of it. And ugly win, but just imagine, honestly, like think about us right now if we would have lost that game, right? Like if we would have lost that game against the Texans, I'd be sitting here and I know everyone would be commenting down below saying, hey, that was terrible. I can't believe we lost to the freaking Texans. Now, we ended up pulling it out. We ended up winning, and I'll take that win. But something that kind of stuck with me, I don't know about you guys, but when I was watching this game, I was watching it with my family, and one of my brothers, he goes, I hope we don't win this game. And I'm like, well, why? And he's like, well, is this a playoff team? I'm like, well, no, I never really thought that this was a playoff team. But he's like, this is why I want them to lose, just so we have a better draft pick. Now, I'm not that way, and I see like where he was getting at. But I mean, I'm always rooting for wins. I'm always rooting for this team to win out there. But honestly, this did not look like a playoff team. They need to take some steps. And that's why we're going to be breaking down a whole bunch of breakdowns of just how can they actually get better. But yeah, right out here, Skokes in the comments got the dub, but nervous about Justin. And that's going to be the biggest thing that we break down. But before we get into that, let's just talk about some of the injuries. Another game, Velus Jones Jr. was out. Sad to see Velus not out there. We still miss him out there, but hopefully he's back next week. Otherwise, you kind of kick yourself that you didn't throw him on the PUP list because that would be his 4th game that he misses. But also, Lucas Patrick was out there as he was actually out on the field and started. The thing that got me weirded out is you have him starting, and now Sam Mustipher was still at center while Lucas Patrick was at that right guard spot. So we'll break that down because think about it. Does this mean that Patrick is going to be at right guard and Mustipher at center? We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But the big injury news, David Montgomery going down. The update on it so far, Matt Eberflus said that he's taking it day to day. So we don't have anything set in stone. We don't have, hey, he's going to be out for weeks. It's going to be something that we're going to be looking at. Yet again, this regime is also very tight-lipped with a lot of different injuries. So we already knew that before. So with this, it's going to be very quiet until that first injury report comes out or they take an MRI and they see is anything torn. But as we saw when he went out, Khalil Herbert feasted. So going through some of the stats, I want to kind of start out with the offense. And this offense, Justin Fields, 8 for 17, 106 passing yards, 2 interceptions, sacked 5 times with a QB rating of 19.7, or QBR of 19.7 and a QB rating of 27.7. While from the rushing side, Khalil Herbert, 20 carries, 157 freaking rushing yards, 7.9 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns. Justin Fields, 8 carries, 47 yards. EQ St. Brown, 2 carries, 43 yards. Treston Ebner, 7 carries, 23 yards. And David Montgomery, 3 carries for 11 yards. So let's go through just I have 5 takeaways on offense, 5 takeaways on defense like I have before. But let's just start out with Justin Fields. Even though that Khalil Herbert looked great, and Khalil Herbert dominated. I still feel like the big story of this game is Justin Fields. We did not see Justin Fields do well. Now, last game, we did say, like, hey, what were the wide receivers doing? But we saw, and the wide receivers were getting open. Justin Fields threw 2 interceptions, and the thing that gets me a little bit concerned is the first interception was to Kmet. The second interception was to Darnell Mooney. And the reason why I bring that up is it's not Byron Pringle. It's not Dante Pettis. It's not EQ St. Brown or Smith Marset, some of these guys that really weren't around there during training camp. These were the 2 guys you were supposed to be hunkering down with and building that chemistry. You threw it way past Cole Kmet. Is that on Kmet? Didn't look so. And also the one to Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney was drifting to the left side, and then he throws it to the right side, just not a catchable ball for Darnell Mooney. So I'm kind of curious, like, what's going on with that? It did not look good. This is 2 games in a row. Justin Fields has not looked good. And to me, this is the biggest thing with Justin Fields. The guy is talented as all heck. He's such a good quarterback, but he needs to just round out his game. And the thing that I want to see Justin Fields do is take more credibility. It sounds like when he had his interview, he was doing that. He was kind of saying, I got to get better, but that's it. I think it's very difficult for someone. Think about it in your own career. You might have somebody that's super, super talented, right? But if they get put into a management position, they have to be the leader. And if it's too early, they might have to take a couple steps back and then learn and get better. And that's really where I think that this Bears team as a whole, Justin Fields just needs to be like, all right, take it. Like, accept that he did not play well. Apologize to Darnell Mooney. Be like, I'm sorry, man. That's on me. I got you. And come out here and play better, because it wasn't good. And 5 sacks, PFF, it only says that the offensive line led up 2, and then the other 3 were on Justin Fields. And I kind of felt that way too. I think that the line wasn't that bad. But yeah, Torin out here saying 8 of 17. Yep, 106. It's just not good. Yeah, averaging 1.5 interceptions a game. That's absolutely correct. Or I think 1.33. Anything over 1 is not good. ESPN is probably sitting back going, yeah, we might not be right that they predicted the Bears to win 3 games, but they're probably pretty happy right now saying, we told you he'd throw the most interceptions, because that he's on pace to do that. This is like as many interceptions as Aaron Rodgers throws in a year, right? Like, this isn't good. And especially when you have a team that's about keeping the ball, this is not a good look. And I really like Justin Fields coming out, still really like Justin Fields, still believe in him. But this regime does not have to be tied to him, especially if we are drafting high. And especially if part of the hits principle is not turning the ball over, and you got him turning the ball over more than 1 time a game, that's something that this new regime is not going to like, and something he definitely needs to get better on. But let's move over to the second point of the game. And let's celebrate. Come on. Let's get excited. I'm going to be clapping out here. Khalil freaking Herbert, the man, the guy. He should be the guy. My second takeaway is Khalil Herbert should be the guy if Monty misses time. And what I mean by that, first off, Khalil Herbert is a beast. We already saw this last game. Last game, he averaged more rushing yards than David Montgomery did. And David Montgomery looked like a beast. Khalil Herbert, 20 carries, 157 yards, 7.9 yards a carry. But also, in the receiving game, 2 catches for 12 yards. That was the big question with them. At least had a good game being that third down running back and playing well. And part of this, too, saying he should be the guy. I got to talk about Trestan Ebner. I know that there's a lot of Trestan Ebner fans out there. Ebner did not look good out there. 3.3 yards a carry. Because that's what I was interested on is we're already running it really well. We're looking really good. What does Ebner do? Ebner just looks a little slow out there. 3.3 yards a carry and had 1 target, but wasn't able to catch that. So I just felt overall, Trestan Ebner not the best. And that's why I'm saying just let Khalil Herbert work, man. He's good. And watching it with my brothers, watching the game with them, something that we just kind of looked at, because David Montgomery, when he breaks a tackle, right? He breaks a tackle, you notice. But I saw one run when Khalil Herbert just ran to the left side. There was one guy right there, and what he did, he's running to the left, makes a quick little juke, and all of a sudden, the guy's completely missed, and he's running to the left side, running around, gets a first down, gets 10 yards. Khalil Herbert isn't flashy. The dude just gets results, and you can't fight that, right? An absolute beast. And I love that he's at least our running back, our backup running back. And what I also kind of love is David Montgomery. I still am in that camp. You should not pay him. Even when he had that beast game, you should not pay him. Now you see Khalil Herbert, what he's capable of. We had some questions about this system because he didn't look that good in the preseason. Now he's looking great. We know that we can't pass the football, but still we have Khalil Herbert dominating. Love to see it. Love to see this running game working because we haven't seen that in a while. Unfortunately, it made our passing game, sacrificed our passing game, made that look a lot worse. But still, the running game is looking really, really good. But let's keep on moving. And actually, I want to call this out a little bit too, just because I already kind of brought up a little bit of Justin Fields. But I want to just bring this up because offensive play call, my point number 3 is offensive play call has been conservative. And I'll kind of touch base with this with Justin Fields. But every second down, I hope you guys, when you guys watch this, you guys go, Unbearable Sports called this out, right? Brad called this out. They run it every freaking second and long, like 2nd and 10. It's like they're going to run the football. That's what they always do. And it bugs me. And then also the end of the second quarter, I was booing at my TV screen. I don't know about you guys. I was because why not? You have over a minute left. Just try and do something. It shows that it shows what the Bears are capable of. It just like try, and why not just show faith in your offense that you could do something? Why not just run it again? Yes, you don't have to be passing the football. Just run it and just put some plays out there to show that you have confidence in this offense so that they're out there. And also, Tiff, don't worry, I'm not calling Justin Fields a bust. You better believe that. I'm not going to call him a bust quite yet. I think that there's something about him. And actually, speaking about this, with the conservative play call, I want to call this out about Justin Fields. Something that's very difficult to do with Justin Fields is, first off, Justin Fields loves open receivers. I think our receivers are doing a good job, but also Justin Fields, I think that what Luke Getsy needs to do is this. Luke Getsy needs to go back to his Green Bay days with Aaron Rodgers before Aaron Rodgers started taking easy plays. Because Aaron Rodgers was a lot like Justin Fields, can escape the pocket, can make big plays, but he would skip out on the easy stuff, like the interception that he threw. You had Cole Kmet wide open for an easy dump off. He wants to go for the big play. He wants to go for the big thing rather than the easy play. That's what Aaron Rodgers did early on in his career. Aaron Rodgers did not go for the easy stuff. He would purposely hold on to the ball extra long just to see a wide receiver out there and just to see if he can go for a bigger play. Who does that remind you of? It reminds me a lot of our Justin Fields. It reminds me a lot of what he's trying to do. He's not doing easy stuff. He's not doing the simple stuff. He's trying to go for the big play. The only easy stuff that he does go for is that the easy stuff is just is screens, right? It's just screens that he's going off of. So that's where I just feel like enough of the screens, maybe just try and force him to try and do some of the slants, or like I said, break out the old Aaron Rodgers and see what Aaron Rodgers can do and see what Fields can do with that. And I think that Justin Fields, it's that confidence. It's that's how he wants to play. He wants to go big time. if you look at what happened with Andy Dalton, and this was last year, yes, Matt Nagy was the was calling plays, but if you look last year, Andy Dalton was going for really quick plays, really quick stuff. Then all of a sudden, Justin Fields is throwing super far because that's what Justin Fields likes to do. He doesn't like to take easy stuff. And I think that's what's so hard and so difficult with this. But overall, I still question the play calling because of second down runs, because of a lot of that. And it's a little uneasy, but I still think that Justin Fields deserves blame for this game. But I still think that the offensive play calling can be a little bit better. Still don't love the second and longs just because those are kind of seen as bad stuff. Also, thank you for always having my back out there, Whitefield. Hit that like button, guys. For those watching out there on YouTube, helps tremendously, helps the channel. So thank you guys so much. But my next little update that I'm going to be breaking out there with is number 4. O-line has been built to run the football. When we run the football, you see everybody moving. Braxton Jones, good run blocker. You see even Mustipher, everybody's kind of moving together, and you see Lucas Patrick out there. I like this running offensive line. But when you get into the passing line, on 25 snaps, they let up 9 different forms of pressure. I think it was 5 quarterback hurries, 2 hits on the quarterback, and 2 sacks that they're accounting for Justin Fields. So not great, but still, I think that they could potentially keep on making steps forward. But Willie brings up a good point just about the passing real quick. Slant routes, I want to see more of that. I feel like I don't see as many. So I agree with you out there where maybe some more slants, maybe some more stuff like that, and just kind of some more crosses that can still be considered big plays. So hopefully it's more of that. But yeah, let's go about this offensive line. What do you guys think? Is Sam Mustipher going to be the center now? Or is Lucas Patrick, we just have to wait for his hand to heal? What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments if you're watching. Because to me, right now, I'm a little bit nervous if you switch Lucas Patrick to center, just because of how this running game has been so good, right? And the center has a lot on him to make sure everybody's in the right spot. So that's where, to me, I'm nervous to say, hey, Musty, you're out, and we're going to throw in Lucas Patrick. That's where I'm a little bit nervous about that. I'd say you want to see what the offensive line looks like in practice, and then maybe you go with it, because Tevin Jenkins is a good guard in this league. He's looked good. When he's out there, he's been good. So I would rather have Patrick at center. But I think as an offensive coordinator, after you see this running game dominating the past 2 weeks, it's a sincere question. Should we change this? Because we're at least running the ball well, but what about the pass blocking? That's where it's kind of difficult. So yeah, Willie, not a fan of Sam Mustipher. Would have put him on the practice squad and he's terrible. That's where it's hard. It's Mustipher is just, I always see him as a cerebral guy, so that's where if everyone's working together, I like him. But it's going to be a very interesting thought about this offensive line. But let's go to the last little piece. Equanimeous St. Brown isn't that bad. That's my 5th takeaway, because I just want to give EQ some respect. EQ St. Brown, 2 targets, 1 catch for 20 yards. It's sad to say that, like, he had a good game. And he had 2 rushes for 43 yards. Honestly, he looked good. And he looked like a good player out there. It looked like you could feed him the ball a little bit more. And is he a number 2 wide receiver in this league? Heck no. But is he not that bad? Not as bad as, like, anytime I bring it up to Packer fans, they're like, oh man, you have him. It's like, he isn't that bad. He is a solid wide receiver. That's a good backup. He's a good player. And I just want to give him a little bit of love, just because I think that we overlook him sometimes. And also with Byron Pringle going down as well, I think that EQ played well. So to me, EQ, you're getting some kudos out there. But also just overall, just to wrap this offense up, It's hard. It's really hard because the offense, Cole Kmet to me continues to struggle. Darnell Mooney, I want to see him get I want to see Darnell Mooney get more involved. I want to see just that relationship between him and Fields. Doesn't seem like it's even out there. And yeah, and I agree with Sam I am out here. Bayless, I want to see him out there. And also in 2 weeks, we might even see N'Keal Harry. So that's another person that I want to see out there. And if we get new wide receivers, is this team going to get better? Is this team going to look better? But honestly, it all goes on Justin Fields, in my opinion. But we have two, rather than three, I'm going to go with two overreactions just to keep it a little bit quicker for today's. So the first overreaction that I saw was a lot of people saying maybe Matt Nagy wasn't that bad after all. Now, obviously, this is a hot take. This isn't from me. This is from across the interwebs, Twitter, that I saw this out here. Someone said, a bunch of people actually saying maybe Matt Nagy wasn't that bad. And honestly, I think that this has a little bit of footing, right? This reminds me a lot of when John Fox was out here, right? And John Fox would not pass it with Mitch Trubisky. And we're like, why doesn't he just pass it with Mitch Trubisky? You should run a lot of bootlegs, push him out to the outside, then he can play. Reminds me a lot of us right now saying, hey, Justin Fields, let's roll him out. Let's do stuff like that, right? And now we're not seeing that. You saw on one of the sacks, you run a naked boot. When you run a naked boot and people know that you're running a naked boot, you get sacked. That's what happened out there. Nobody missed a block. Somebody just didn't. That's just what happens when you run a naked boot. But one of the things that makes me feel this way is I feel like we went from John Fox, the era of like those play calls, Nagy, and then this seems like a very John Fox type of an offense. Very conservative, very basic. Like that's kind of what I'm feeling. But I feel too, Matt Nagy, I never hated Matt Nagy. I never got the absolute hatred for Matt Nagy. I honestly just felt like he was thrown in because he was the next Andy Reid guy. I seriously think that he could still potentially be another head coach. If Eric Bieniemy is no longer the OC, I think Nagy's going to be the OC. And I think if he has, it's kind of like a Josh McDaniels. Give him some time and maybe he does something else. But we see Josh McDaniels isn't doing anything, so maybe he still sucks. But honestly, I just feel like, maybe Matt Nagy, like that whole Matt Nagy maybe wasn't that bad. I think it's a little hot, but I think it's like lukewarm because I think in all honesty, Matt Nagy wasn't terrible, but like he wasn't Joe Judge. Like that's the thing. I'm not saying that he was great. I'm not saying he was good. Just saying he wasn't terrible. And honestly, when you play at this high of level, you got to be somewhat smart. you have to understand football pretty well. So that's where for me, I honestly overall, I think that this is a little hot, but it has some feet to it. Well, let's go over to Fields is the next hot take. Is Fields is the worst QB in the league. That's something that I saw all the time. Like Fields is the worst QB. That's the thing that you're seeing pop up everywhere. I saw people saying, just wait till you see Fields play football because it's that bad. Here's the thing. Fields to me just needs to learn. That's the biggest thing. He's talented. Has he played like the worst quarterback in the league? Honestly, yes. Yes, he has. Because he's not hitting people. He's not running the offense. The thing about Justin Fields is that he can make big plays. When he goes out, he's tough to tackle. He can make these huge splash plays. But when you ask him to run an offense right now, he hasn't been able to show it. It's sad to say, but that's just the reality of what's happening right now with Justin Fields. So to me, he's played like the worst quarterback. It's especially like you see freaking Geno Smith throwing up for over 200 yards. Imagine us. Like I was like looking at that stat line going, if the Bears threw for over 200 yards, I'd be over the moon, right? We'd be like, we're good. Look what we did, right? But these other leagues, other quarterbacks can easily throw for over 200 yards. I think, yes, there's a combination of some of the offensive play calling I don't think is amazing, but I think the execution of Justin Fields needs to get better. Yes, he doesn't have the best weapons. Yes, he doesn't have the best offensive line, but you have to make do with what you have. And here's the thing, you can watch the film and you could totally point out going, you got to make that throw. You need to do this. You need to do that. There's a lot of stuff that he can get better on. So has he played like the worst quarterback? Yes. Is he the worst quarterback? No. Big difference is he has a lot more talent. He has a lot more ceiling. He just needs to get coached up and he just needs to keep going. This season, to me, is still a preseason. I don't expect this team to be in the playoffs. I don't expect this team to go on some sort of run. You need to see what's with Justin Fields. You need to see what you have as a baseline. So that's where, for me, that's what I feel. But yeah, lots of good comments out there. The Coach Steve show, friend of the show. Yes, he played like the worst quarterback. He did, exactly. Like, you watch that. Yeah, talent isn't the worst, but he played pretty darn bad today. Just needs to get that up there, man. Like, he just needs to start doing well. So let's go over to this Bears defense. Let's switch it over to some of the key takeaways that I have for this defense. Now, starting out with takeaway number 6 or number 1 for this defense. The defense is a completely different look when you have good linebackers on the field. We saw better linebacker play than we have the first 2 weeks. Linebacker play was horrendous, especially from Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith, 16 tackles, 6 of those were solo, 2 tackle for losses, 1 passes defense, and the game-sealing interception. Roquan Smith, to me, played well. Did he play like the All-Pro? Does he now need that new contract? No. To me, he did not show me that. But when you have good linebacker play, Nicholas Morrow made some pretty key tackles as well. This defense looks a lot better. If you have an elite linebacker, this defense will take that next step. That's right. Roquan Smith has not played like an elite linebacker. He got an interception off of a tip, and he made 10 assisted tackles. So he's around the ball, but to me, yet again, good play by him. He looks solid, but still, I just felt like Roquan Smith can still and needs to take it out to the next level. But let's go over to my next takeaway. Is no more Al-Qadin, please. So please, no more Al-Qadin Muhammad, right? Like, I don't want to see Al-Qadin Muhammad out there. He was supposed to be this kind of like coach's kid that's out there that's kind of hustling. He hustles his heart out. God bless him, right? But why not play the younger guys? Why not play the people that look better? Trevis Gibson has looked better. The reason why you don't play Trevis Gibson is because of his kind of immaturity with and gap discipline. What we've seen out of Al-Qadin Muhammad is he always rushes to the inside and everybody just runs right around him because there's no gap integrity. He's not sealing that edge. So to me, it's like, come on, man. Like, why is he even out there? And whenever Al-Qadin Muhammad's out there, like watching the game with my brothers, we go, just put the backups in so we could get a sack. That's what it feels like. Like, put the backups in so we can actually get pressure on the quarterback. And that was something that I didn't really like out there. We didn't get a lot of pressure. It was kind of sad to see, but really, put the backups in, man, because Al-Qadin Muhammad has not been getting it done. And even just like on the interior, yes, Justin Jones got a sack. There's a little bit of a weird play. It felt weird. But still, the defensive interior, it didn't look great, didn't play amazing. But honestly, yeah, you have Gibson. He's able to play with a lot more upside, as Steve's saying out here. But honestly, like, it's hard because Robert Quinn's been super double teamed, and you need someone else to kind of step up. So Gibson, Dominique Robinson. Robinson only played on the edge a handful of snaps. Yeah, I saw him playing D tackle a couple times. Like, the dude's a former quarterback. Don't put him at D tackle. I get it that it's 3 technique and he's like super fast. come on, like put him on the edge. I want to see more of those young guys out there. But let's go over to number 8. My number 8 takeaway. Eddie Jackson is back. Can we throw a parade? Can we throw a festival? Eddie Jackson still, we are undefeated when he gets an interception. So Eddie Jackson, we talked about this in the preview. Let's give him some love. I know some people out there, you'll point to, hey, remember when he got blown up by Deebo Samuel? Deebo Samuel is like 230 pounds running full speed. Physics just doesn't work that way. Eddie Jackson has tackled. Eddie Jackson has played well in coverage. He had 8 tackles, 5 solo today, 1 pass defended. And also, I want to give him credit from the tackling perspective. We saw this today. He would go for the ball when he knew someone else was around. You saw him being aggressive. You saw him playing well like that. I got to give him some kudos. Eddie Jackson has been playing very well. Is he the all-pro, like the number 1 safety like he was back in the day? No. But this is kind of what we expected when we signed him. When we gave him all that money, we expected someone that has that good level of safety play. And honestly, he's looked night and day from after the 2018 season. Like he looks so much better than 2019, 2020, 2021. It's really awesome to see because I am a big fan of Eddie Jackson. So seeing him play like that, it just warms the heart. It's nice to see. So really, I really liked him out there. But also, so kudos to Eddie Jackson, but I want to talk about this, the secondary a little bit too. Kyler Gordon is the weak link. And I know Tiff said too, Kyler Gordon played a little bit better. He did, but I will just, he's kind of the obvious weak link. Now, Kindle Vildor was kind of attacked, which we saw this week. And Kindle Vildor, though, did make a couple pass breakups. Now, last year, I still felt like Kindle Vildor wasn't that bad in the beginning of the season, but then he got worse and worse and worse. So hopefully Kindle Vildor can keep stacking some decent games because he hasn't been bad. He hasn't been terrible. So that to me is something to be optimistic on. Kindle Vildor looking solid. And even Jalen Jones, man. Jalen Jones, the backup corner, the rookie that we were able to bring in undrafted, didn't look bad. Maybe it might have been because Houston was like, yeah, we're not going to throw it to Jalen's way, and they just threw it to the other side. But Jalen Jones didn't look terrible out there. I want to watch the tape again, watch the all-22, just to see how he was out there. But first glance, didn't look that bad. Kyler Gordon also, big play, stuck his hand up. Don't mean to kind of not give him credit. But honestly, if any of us were out there and the ball came right at our heads, we'd stick our hand up too. But still, good play all around. But also, Jaquan Brisker, I want to give him credit as well. I've been hard on Brisker for the first 3 games that he played. I felt like he missed a lot of tackles. Not felt. He did miss a lot of tackles. Brisker played well. Brisker played and had a good game today from first glance, made some pretty good plays. I thought that he played very well. That's where Kyler Gordon, like, I hate Aaron Rodgers as much as all of us out here. Aaron Rodgers understood that Kyler Gordon was the weak link. That's why he attacked him. Kyler Gordon still kind of looked that way. And the biggest thing that gets me nervous about Kyler Gordon, yet again, he's not a bust, but Kyler Gordon always has separation. Watching him in training camp, he always had that as well. A lot of separation as he was trying to cover people. So, yeah, Kyler Gordon, he needs to keep on stepping up, but still was halfway decent out there. So, yeah, secondary I think has been playing solid, but I think when you have I think overall when you have a Jalen Jones playing halfway decent, it's good. It's good. But let's go back to the final takeaway for this defense, and that is our defense is built for turnovers. So we already know this with the hits principle, but it just kind of enforced that even more so. We did let up a halfway decent chunk of yards, 237 passing yards and 92 rushing yards. Now, also, I want to give credit. We only held Dameon Pierce to 4 yards a carry. That's good. His longest was a 24-yard carry. Yes, he had some goal line carries as well, but seriously, he looked pretty good out there. He looked good, or like we look good from the defensive side, stuffing the run. So it's a step in the right direction. Um, but also, yeah, Davis Mills, 2 interceptions, a total of 237 passing yards when you take apart the 1 sack. So yeah, we're all about the turnovers. We're all about stripping the ball. And I just want to give Alan Williams some credit. He built this identity, or him and Flus wanted to build this identity, and they have. They've continued to push this and said, this is how you win games. Now you have another game where, as a defensive guy, you can sit there and go, you know what won that game? We won that game because of that interception from Roquan Smith. Because we took the ball away, Roquan Smith had the interception, and Eddie Jackson had an interception in the end zone. Without those, we probably lose this game, right? We do. They score, and now it's a 23-20 game, right? 23-23, 27-23. We don't know what they did because we took that opportunity away from them. So this defense is built off of turnovers, and it was awesome to see. But also out there, I just want to point this out. Willie said Kyler Gordon looks slow. Kyler Gordon, he's got this crazy burst. His acceleration, I think, is the thing that made him stand out. Keep in mind, we talked about this in the draft process. I know that I had a lot of people not liking my draft grade. I gave the Bears a B with the overall draft because I wasn't a huge fan of Gordon. He's an athletic guy that does not have good eyes, and we keep seeing that. We kind of see that he doesn't have great eyes. But let's actually go to my overreactions because this segues perfectly. My first overreaction that I saw out there is that Kyler Gordon is a bust. We should have never drafted him, right? Here's the thing. Kyler Gordon is not a bust. He is simply just an athletic, like the quickness, the explosiveness. That's what the Bears liked. That's why he was kind of ranked by the Bears as a first-round caliber prospect. Do we have concerns? Yes. Is he a bust? No, because, hey, he's starting. He's playing, and he's not terrible. He's not horrific. Like, he needs a chance, like Tiff Tiff is saying, he needs a chance to get better. He will get better. And I think right now, too, I already had questions about, you put him on the outside. I know someone in the comments said, like, yeah, just keep him out on the outside. Like, from the outside perspective, you're asking a lot of this guy. And I think that's where, with time, I think he should be better, but especially the cornerback position. I heard people saying it's the hardest thing to get used to because you're going against insanely fast, insanely big people, and especially when you're in the slot. I would never want to be a slot corner because if you're a slot corner, you're like, I have no idea where you're going. At least when you're outside, you have the sideline to your advantage. The slot corner has got to be the hardest position. I would never want to play that position. So I got to give him credit for at least that. So I don't think he's a bust. We got to give him time. But the other overreaction that I saw out there as well, pay Roquan, all caps, right? Everybody's saying we got to pay Roquan. That's why you need him. And I feel like if you've already been listening, I am not a fan of paying Roquan. It mainly, let me just, put something out here. I'm not a fan of paying Roquan if he's the highest paid linebacker. I think what he has kind of continued to show is that he's not the top tier linebacker. And yes, he had a good game today, but he needs to stack those games up. That's the biggest thing. Keep giving us good games, Roquan, and then you could potentially do that. But you have to show that you're not just a good linebacker. You are a great linebacker. You are the game changer. Today, you had a game-sealing interception off a tip. You made the play. He made the play. Yes, it was tipped. He made the play. He made 16 tackles. Yeah, 6 of them were solo, according to ESPN. The dude made plays. He made plays today. He needs to continue doing that. He had 2 tackle for losses, 2 key tackle for losses. He needs to continue doing that and show that he can be as good as Shaquille Leonard, the current Indianapolis Colts linebacker. But guys, we've gone through the offense and we have gone through the defense. So now it is time for the special teams review. We've gone through the 10 key takeaways, and that's where we're going to finish it off with special teams and the player of the game. So special teams, my biggest takeaway is we need Velus Jones back. I think we all know We need Velus back. But this is where I don't see it with Treston Ebner. I'm sorry for all those Ebner fans out there, but Ebner just looks slow. Ebner gets tracked down. Ebner doesn't look like as quick. When you are around all these other NFL players, it's not saying Ebner will never play again. It's just he's not moving the needle for me. And Khalil Herbert was a better kick returner in my mind. He just got you the yards. We need Velus back. Velus is that next level speed, and I can't wait. So please, everybody, if you're religious, say a prayer, whatever you want to do, whatever we can do to get him back on the field. If you're a physical therapist, call him up and be like, hey, let me help you. We need him back on the field. I think that for special teams, that'd be awesome. But also, Cairo Santos, another perfect game. Way to go. So he's just continuously stacking that and hitting a 50-yarder. I know that his leg, his strength is a big concern. So bravo there. But next, player of the game. All those out there on YouTube, let me know down below who deserves the game ball for you. If you could just give it to one person. Because to me, the game ball goes to Khalil Herbert. Because here's this guy that was able to step up and play and ball out. Khalil Herbert, to me, game ball, he carried the team literally and looked great. When you have somebody that plays like that, I'm tired of giving the game ball out to running backs. I want to give it. We did Justin Fields, David Montgomery, Khalil Herbert, but that's just the way that this team has been. You have one person that really kind of carries this offense. So hopefully we can keep that offense going, keep that running game a chugging. But if I didn't have to give it to them, honestly, it's hard not to give it to Roquan Smith for that game-sealing interception. Mr. Mayhem out here says, yeah, Roquan Smith as well. When you seal the game with the interception, it's hard not to get the game ball. But I do want to just give credit to Eddie Jackson. Eddie Jackson was flying out there. Eddie Jackson was covering. Eddie Jackson made an interception off a tip from Kindle Vildor. But still, Roquan Smith sealed the game. It's enough said with that. You know what I mean? But also, I forgot to bring this up because this was brought up at the very beginning of the show. My boy Jack Sanborn. Where was he? But we talked about this in the preview where Jack Sanborn, chances were that they were going to probably call up Joe Thomas and he was going to start at Sam. And what do you know? They call up Joe Thomas and he starts at Sam linebacker. Ultimately, I'm a little disappointed, a little bit bummed. But hey, we got the dub. I want to see Sanborn out there. But hey, Roquan Smith came back out there, played decent. That's what you want to see out there with this team. So, hey, I know that we might feel bad. I know that a lot of us, we won the game, but we have this sour taste. I literally sat there like we lost the game after the game, sitting there like that one gif where the kid's got his hand behind his head, just looking up. I felt like we lost. I felt like it was a bad game. I felt bad. But guys, the running game is going. Okay, the defense can turn the ball over. Is this a playoff caliber team? No, not the way that they're playing, right? Not the way that they're playing. We need to keep on moving forward. And here's the biggest thing. How good would this team be if Justin Fields was able to play well? Get this game together, right? This isn't our year to win the Super Bowl. This is our year to figure out who we're keeping and who we are moving on from. And right now, we are 2-1, right? 2-1. This was a game we were supposed to win, and we ended up winning it. Next week, we have the New York Giants. And this week, we're going to be bringing on some guests to talk about the New York Giants, I believe on Tuesday. I'll post a schedule later on, so look out for that. Either Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll have some people from the Scoreboard Addicts. They cover all things New York, so we're going to have them on to talk about the New York Giants coming up. Maybe they'll be 2-0. Maybe they'll be 2-1. It'll be very interesting. But I'm excited. Guys, we won. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. I'm pumped. And with that, Unbearable Sports Podcast, we're out.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair, and you know that she's a bad chick.
Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.